Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. And today we are going to be talking about breathing.
Breathing.
You know, when someone suggested we deep dive into this book, The Space in Between by Jamaur Johnson,
Oh, yeah.
I have to admit I was a little bit skeptical at first.
Really? A whole book about breathing?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But let me tell you, I am so ready to eat my words
Okay.
because this book is mind-blowing. It's like we think about breathing, we all do it right. It's life-sustaining,
Right.
but we kind of take it for granted.
We do.
And Johnson dives into how we can unlock all this potential just by changing how we breathe.
It's amazing.
Like, what if we're only using like a tiny percentage of what our breath can really do for us?
Absolutely. And it's something that we really do overlook. And even I know a lot about the breath, but this book even surprised me with some of the stuff that it dives into.
Wow. Okay. I am so ready to get into this.
Me too.
All right. So the book starts by pointing out something that I think we can all relate to. Most of us are breathing wrong.
Yeah.
We're doing it wrong.
It's true.
I mean, they think about us stress, staring at screens all day, constantly rushing around. I mean, our modern lives practically train us to take these short, shallow breaths.
Yeah, just like up here in the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we are sipping out of this tiny little teacup when there is a whole ocean of air available to us.
That's such a good analogy because that's literally what's happening inside.
It is.
Think about after you have a really big yawn,
Oh, yeah.
and you get that
Yeah.
feeling. That's your diaphragm fully engaging.
Ah.
That big dome-shaped muscle below your lungs. It's pulling in this huge volume of air.
I see.
But when we're stuck in that shallow breathing pattern, you're mostly using your chest muscles.
Oh.
And your lungs are barely getting a workout.
So it's like driving a sports car,
Yes.
but only in like second gear.
Totally. Yeah, you're missing out on all the horsepower.
We're missing out on all the power.
Okay, so I'm starting to see why this is such a big deal.
Yeah.
But why, what's actually happening inside of us when we take these deeper breaths?
So the science behind it is fascinating.
Okay.
It all comes down to our nervous system.
Okay.
So you know that fight or flight response we feel when we're stressed?
Oh, yeah.
Well, shallow breathing actually feeds into that.
Really?
Keeps us in that like constant state of low-level anxiety.
Huh.
But that deep belly-focused breathing signals to your body that all is well.
Okay.
We flip the switch from fight or flight to rest and digest.
I see.
And then suddenly this cascade of positive effects starts to happen.
Like what?
Our heart rate slows down, blood pressure decreases, circulation improves.
Wow.
It's amazing.
So it's like our body's internal chill out button.
Exactly.
I'm already feeling more relaxed.
I know, me too.
Just thinking about it. But it's wild to me that something as simple as how we breathe
Yeah.
can have such a huge impact on our physical health. It's huge.
The book even touches on how it can improve our cardiovascular system,
It's true.
which honestly seems too good to be true. How does that even work?
Well, it's all about maximizing your oxygen intake.
Okay.
So when we breathe deeply, we're essentially flooding our bodies with oxygen-rich blood,
Okay.
and that triggers something called vasodilation.
Vasodilation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our blood vessels widen,
Oh.
allowing for better blood flow.
So it's like, imagine like upgrading from a garden hose to a fire hose.
Okay, yeah.
And this takes a huge load off of our heart, leads to better circulation, which is obviously critical
Just everything.
for everything.
Yeah.
Heart health, brain function, and even more than that, studies have shown that deep breathing can actually stimulate the release of nitric oxide,
Nitric oxide.
which is a molecule that plays a crucial role in regulating blood pressure
Wow.
and preventing the buildup of plaque in our arteries.
So not only are we calming our nervous system, we're literally giving our heart a mini spa treatment.
I love that. Every time we take a deep breath.
It's true.
Okay, I am sold.
Oh,
But there's one thing in the book that really piqued my curiosity.
okay.
And honestly, I was a little skeptical at first.
What's that?
This concept of the space in between.
Ah, yes, the space in between.
It's the pause between breaths, right?
Right.
And Johnson compares it to that moment of anticipation right before like a big event, like a pause where everything kind of slows down. There's this sense of peace.
Yeah,
Honestly, it sounded a little out there to me at first,
I get that.
but now I'm kind of intrigued.
Yeah.
What's the science behind this pause?
So this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
It turns out this pause, the space in between, actually triggers specific areas of our brain that are linked to awareness and emotional regulation. So think about it.
Yeah.
When we hold our breath, even for just a moment after each exhale,
Yeah.
we're creating this mini meditation reset
Oh,
in every single breath cycle.
wow.
It's like we're giving our brains a chance to kind of catch up and reboot.
So instead of just constantly reacting to everything,
Yeah.
we're creating a space to actually like choose our responses.
Exactly.
That sounds like a game changer, especially for someone like me who
Right.
can be a little impulsive, shall
Well,
I say.
I think we all have those moments.
Yeah.
But the more we practice creating this space within our breath, the more we cultivate that ability to respond thoughtfully
Mm-hmm.
rather than just reacting on autopilot.
Yeah.
It's a powerful tool for navigating the ups and downs of daily life.
Okay, now this is where I get really excited
Right.
because this is about so much more than just like physical health.
Right.
It's about how we can use our breath to unlock some seriously impressive mental and emotional benefits.
Yes.
We're talking about stress reduction, mindfulness, even managing anxiety and depression.
This is where we really start to see the true potential of conscious breathing.
Okay, tell me more. I'm hooked.
So you know how we talked about that rest and digest response?
Mm-hmm.
When we engage in deep, mindful breathing, we're sending a clear message to our nervous system to chill out,
Okay.
right? And as we do that, our body starts to release endorphins, our natural mood boosters. So we're not just calming down, we're actually creating a more positive emotional state.
So it's like a happiness hack right there in our breath.
It really is.
I love it. But let's talk about mindfulness for a second.
Sure.
I've tried meditation,
Yeah.
and I always struggle with it.
Yeah.
My mind, it's like a monkey
I know.
swinging from thought to thought.
It's so hard to quiet that monkey mind.
But Johnson talks about breath control as being the key to actually quieting the mind. He even compares it to having a remote control
Oh, I love
for
that.
your brain,
Yeah.
hitting pause on the chaos and muting the inner chatter.
That's a good one.
Does that actually work?
It does.
Can we really control our thoughts just by changing how we breathe?
So by focusing on the breath,
Yeah.
you're essentially anchoring your attention to something that's stable and present,
Okay.
right? So you're shifting your focus away from that like swirling storm of thoughts into the physical sensation of breathing.
Right. Okay.
It's like training a puppy.
Okay.
You're gently guiding the attention back to the breath whenever it wanders.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about combining deep breathing with actual meditation?
Absolutely.
Does that like amplify the benefit?
It does. It's amazing the book dives into these 3 specific types of breath-focused meditation
Okay.
that are so powerful for cultivating inner peace and emotional regulation.
Okay. What are they?
So there's mindful breathing,
Mm-hmm.
guided breathing, and mantra breathing.
Okay.
And each technique offers a unique approach to using the breath as a tool for calming the mind, increasing focus, and even tapping into deeper levels of consciousness.
Wow. It's like there's a whole world of possibilities
There is.
within our breath.
Breathe in your breath.
It's amazing, but I think what our listeners are really wondering right now
Yeah.
is how do we actually do this?
Right.
All this talk about deep breathing and mindfulness is great,
It's all good in theory.
but we need some actionable techniques.
We need the how.
Something we can use today.
Yeah,
The book has some really practical tips, right?
it does.
Okay, so let's dive into some of these techniques.
Let's do it.
I'm ready to start breathing my way to a calmer,
Yes,
happier, more resilient me.
that's the goal.
All right, so where do we start?
So let's start with the foundation, diaphragmatic breathing.
Diaphragmatic breathing.
Remember that balloon analogy?
Yes.
Well, this is where we put it into practice.
Okay.
It's so simple. Find a comfortable position,
Okay.
either lying down or sitting upright,
Mm-hmm.
and place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly.
Okay.
And as you inhale deeply through your nose, focus on expanding your belly like you're inflating that balloon.
Okay.
And then as you exhale slowly through your mouth, feel your belly deflate.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. Just repeat this for several minutes and you'll be amazed at how relaxed and energized you feel.
That does sound simple,
It is.
but I can already feel a difference just from doing it a few times.
Ooh.
Okay, what about those moments when stress hits hard?
Yeah.
Like, when you're stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
Or facing a tight deadline?
You got a big presentation.
Yes.
In those moments, box breathing is your secret weapon.
Box breathing.
This technique is used by everyone from Navy SEALs
Oh, wow.
to elite athletes to reset their minds and bodies under pressure.
Mm.
It's like a mini meditation you can do anywhere, anytime.
Okay, I like that.
Here's how it works. You inhale for a count of 4,
Okay.
hold your breath for 4, exhale for 4, and hold again for 4, and just repeat this cycle for a few minutes, and you'll feel your stress melt away.
That's going straight into my mental toolkit.
It's a good one.
It's amazing how something so simple can be so effective.
I know.
Now, what about sleep?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a terrible sleeper. I'm always tossing and turning.
Yeah.
The book mentions a breathing technique that can help with that, right?
Yes, there's a fantastic technique called the 4-7-8 technique.
4-7-8.
Developed by Dr. Andrew Weil. It's incredibly effective for promoting relaxation and better sleep.
Okay, I'm listening.
So here's the breakdown. You inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4.
4.
Hold your breath for 7.
7.
And exhale completely through your mouth for 8.
8. Okay.
And you just repeat that cycle 4 times.
Okay.
And you should start to feel your body and mind relaxing and ready for sleep.
Wow. I'm definitely trying that tonight.
Let me know how it works.
But let's be, real life gets busy.
It does.
How are we supposed to fit all this deep breathing into our already jam-packed schedule?
Right.
I mean, I can barely find time to eat lunch,
Yeah.
let alone like meditate for an hour.
I hear you.
Any tips?
So, it's not about achieving some unattainable level of Zen. It's about incorporating these practices into our daily lives in a way that feels sustainable. And luckily, the space in between offers some incredibly practical advice for doing just that.
Okay, give us the secrets.
Okay.
How do we actually make deep breathing a part of our everyday lives?
So it starts with what Johnson calls the morning reset.
The morning reset. I like that.
Before you even reach for your phone or start checking emails.
Yeah.
Dedicate just a few minutes to conscious breathing. Whether you choose diaphragmatic breathing box breathing or any other technique that resonates with you,
Yeah.
those first few breaths of the day can set a calm and focused tone for everything that follows.
It's like creating a protective bubble
Yes.
around ourselves before we step out into the chaos of the day.
Totally.
I love that.
Yeah, and don't underestimate the power of mini breathing breaks throughout the day.
Oh, yeah.
You know how we all need that coffee break or a quick scroll through social media to de-stress? Well, imagine replacing those habits with just 60 seconds of focused breathing.
Okay.
You can do this at your desk, in your car, waiting in line. Nobody will even notice.
Nobody will even notice.
But those little micro doses of deep breathing can do wonders for reducing stress, improving focus, and bringing you back to the present moment.
I love those micro doses of deep breathing.
It makes it much more manageable.
It makes it much more doable.
Yeah.
But what about those moments when we're about to lose it?
Oh, yeah.
Someone cuts us off in traffic, or we're about to snap at our partner.
Yeah.
Or our coworker.
Yeah, those emotionally charged moments. Those are prime times for diaphragmatic breathing.
Really?
Remember, those deep belly breaths activate that calming response. So before you say something you might regret, take a few moments to just focus on your breath.
It's like hitting the pause button.
Exactly.
Conversation.
You create a space to respond with empathy and understanding rather than reacting with anger or frustration.
Yeah, I'm already feeling calmer just thinking about it. But what about those high-stake situations that, send our heart racing?
Oh, yeah.
No matter how much we prepare.
For sure.
I'm thinking job interviews, public speaking, big presentations.
Yeah, we're talking about performance anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's something most of us experience at some point. The 4-7-8 technique is your best friend in these situations.
Really?
Remember, it's the one where you inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. Practice it regularly, and you'll be amazed at how much more composed and confident you feel when those butterflies start fluttering.
Wow. It's like we have this arsenal of breathing techniques.
We do.
For every situation.
We do.
It's amazing.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the space in between. And let's kind of shift gears now and look at how we can actually use the power of our breath to deal with all the challenges that life throws our way.
Yeah, this is what I'm really excited to dive into. We've all been there, right? Deadlines piling up at work, a disagreement with a loved one, that moment when you realize you're about to miss your flight.
Oh, yeah.
Our heart starts racing, our palms get sweaty, we feel like our body's about to totally betray us.
It's that primal fight or flight response kicking in.
Oh, yeah.
It's hardwired into us, designed to help us survive threats.
Right.
But the thing is, in our modern world, those threats are rarely saber-toothed tigers.
Right. It's more like, a demanding boss or that never-ending to-do list.
Exactly.
So where does breathing fit into all of this? Can we really breathe our way out of a panic attack?
Well, maybe not a full-blown panic attack,
Okay.
but this is where conscious breathing becomes a game changer. It's like having a secret weapon against stress. We can actually use our breath to interrupt that fight or flight response
Okay.
and shift into a state of calm and control.
Okay. I'm All ears, break that down for me. How does breathing actually change our physiological response to stress?
So think back to what we discussed earlier about the nervous system.
Hmm.
When we're stressed, our sympathetic nervous system goes into overdrive.
Right.
But deep, controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system,
Which is...
our rest and digest mode. It's like hitting the brakes on a runaway train.
Okay.
You're calming your heart rate, lowering blood pressure, signaling to your body that it's safe to relax.
It's like we're hacking our nervous system.
Yeah.
With our breath. I love it.
Mm.
But it's not just about feeling calmer in the moment, right? The book talks about how deep breathing can actually make us more resilient
Right.
over time. What does that mean?
So resilience is our ability to bounce back from challenges.
Okay.
It's about weathering the storm and coming out stronger on the other side.
I like that.
And it turns out that conscious breathing plays a huge role in building that resilience.
Okay.
You know, the more we practice these breathing techniques, the more we're training our nervous system to respond to stress with calmness rather than panic.
So it's like building a muscle.
Exactly.
The more we use it, the stronger it gets.
I love that analogy.
Okay, so we're not just surviving stress. We're actually training ourselves to thrive in the face of, sign me up. Let's get practical. For a second, life throws curveballs all the time.
It does.
How do we actually apply these breathing techniques when we're like in the thick of it?
It's about making these techniques a habit so that they become second nature when stress hits. And Johnson gives some great real-world examples in the book. So imagine you're staring at a looming deadline at work,
Oh, yeah.
right? You're feeling the pressure mounting instead of spiraling into panic. Try box breathing.
Okay.
Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a mini meditation you can do right at your desk. It's amazing how quickly it can bring clarity and focus.
I'm definitely trying that next time I'm feeling overwhelmed at work. But what about personal relationships?
Oh, yeah.
Things can get pretty heated sometimes.
Sure.
And I know I've said things in the heat of the moment that I later regretted.
We all have.
Can breathing really help with that?
Absolutely. Those emotionally charged moments are prime times for diaphragmatic breathing.
Okay.
Remember those deep belly breaths activate the calming response?
Right.
So before you say something you might regret,
Yeah.
take a few moments to just focus on your breath. You know, it's like hitting the pause button on a conversation. You create a space to respond with empathy and understanding rather than reacting with anger or frustration.
I'm already feeling calmer just thinking about it. But what about those like high stakes situations
Yeah.
that, send our heart racing no matter how much we prepare?
Right.
I'm thinking job interviews, public speaking, big presentations.
Oh, yeah. You're talking to performance anxiety.
Yes.
And it's something that most of us experience at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
The 4-7-8 technique is your best friend in these situations.
Really?
Remember, it's the one where you inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8.
Right.
Practice it regularly, and you'll be amazed at how much more composed and confident you feel when those butterflies start fluttering.
It's like we have this arsenal of breathing techniques
We do.
for every situation.
We do.
But I'm curious, the book talks about, building resilience through breathing. What does that actually look like?
Think of it like this. Every time we use conscious breathing to navigate a stressful situation, we're strengthening that resilience muscle.
Okay.
We're teaching our nervous system to respond to stress in a new way. And over time, we become less reactive and more adaptable.
Okay.
We're able to handle challenges with more grace and ease.
So we're literally rewiring our brains
Yes.
to be more resilient. It's incredible. But let's be honest, incorporating new habits into our already busy lives can be challenging.
It can.
Any tips for making deep breathing a part of our daily routine?
So, the space in between has some fantastic strategies for making conscious breathing a seamless part of your life.
Okay.
The key is to integrate it into your existing routines and activities.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give us the lowdown on how to make this happen.
Well, Johnson recommends starting your day with what he calls the morning reset.
The morning reset.
So before you even reach for your phone or jump into the day's demands, take a few minutes to practice deep conscious breathing. This sets the tone for the day. It's like giving yourself a mini meditation before the chaos begins.
I love that starting the day by grounding ourselves in our breath, it's like creating a buffer against the inevitable craziness that's coming our way.
I love that visual.
Yeah.
And don't underestimate the power of mini breathing breaks throughout the day.
Right.
Just 60 seconds of focused breathing can reset your mind and body, reduce stress, improve focus. You can do it at your desk in the car. Even waiting in line, no one will even notice.
Okay.
It's like giving yourself a mini vacation for your mind.
It's like those little mental spa treatments we talked about earlier.
Totally.
Micro doses of relaxation throughout the day.
Yes. And here's another powerful tip. Before reacting in any stressful situation, take a deep breath. Remember that space in between concept?
Yes.
The power to choose your response.
Right.
Instead of letting your emotions take over.
It's like hitting the pause button on a movie before things get out of hand.
Yeah.
We get to choose how the scene unfolds. But I have a confession to make. Sometimes life feels so overwhelming that, like, finding even a few minutes for myself feels impossible.
I hear you. Modern life can feel like a constant race.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Even small, consistent efforts can make a huge difference.
Okay.
Start with just a few minutes each day.
Yeah.
Maybe it's incorporating diaphragmatic breathing into your morning routine or practicing box breathing during your commute.
Okay, I'm ready to commit, but I'm also realizing, like, this whole breathing thing is a lifelong journey.
It is.
We're never really done, are we?
You're right. You know, the space in between isn't just a book about techniques. It's about a shift in perspective.
Yeah.
It's about becoming more mindful and intentional in every aspect of our lives.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating self-awareness and realizing that we have the power to change our experience.
Wow.
Simply by changing how we breathe.
That's such a beautiful and empowering message. Well, we've covered so much ground on this deep dive.
We have.
But there's one final piece I want to explore, the art of creating space in our lives.
Yes.
You know, it's a theme that runs throughout the book, and I think it's key to unlocking the full potential of conscious breathing.
I agree. You know, creating space is about more than just finding time for breathing exercises.
Right.
It's about cultivating a mindset of mindfulness and intentionality in everything we do.
And that's where we're headed. In the final part of our deep dive, we're going to explore the transformative power of creating space in our lives and unlock even more secrets from the space in between. All right, so welcome back to our final deep dive into the space in between. And, you know, as we wrap up this exploration, I want to circle back to something that's been like this recurring theme this whole time. And that's the power of creating space, not just in our breath, but in our lives as well.
It's so true, and something that Johnson really emphasizes throughout the book.
Yeah, you know, as we've been unpacking all this, it's really hit me that this is about so much more than just like learning a few breathing techniques.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating this whole new mindset, a way of being in the world that lets us, you know, experience more joy and clarity and presence in every moment.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that space isn't just physical.
Yeah.
It's an internal state of being. It's about creating breathing room,
I love that.
so to speak, for our minds and our emotions.
Mental and emotional breathing room. It's such a
Yeah.
powerful image, but like it's easier said than done. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, our lives are so full of demands and distractions.
Yeah.
How do we actually create this space when we're constantly being pulled in a million different directions?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
But luckily, Johnson offers some incredibly practical strategies in the book for, you know, carving out that space.
Okay, I'm ready for my space-making crash course.
Yeah.
What are the secrets?
So he starts by emphasizing the importance of boundaries.
Boundaries.
It's about recognizing what drains our energy and learning to say no to commitments that just don't align with our values or priorities.
Yeah.
You know, setting limits on screen time, creating intentional time for activities that nourish our soul.
It makes so much sense. It's about being mindful of how we spend our time and energy and making choices that really support our well-being.
Yes, and it's not just about what we do, but how we do it.
Welcome.
Bringing mindfulness to even the most like mundane tasks, eating, walking, even showering, can transform those moments into opportunities for presence and connection.
You know, I've actually noticed that when I slow down and pay attention to the simple things, like the feeling of the warm water on my skin when I'm showering,
Yeah.
it creates this amazing sense of spaciousness, even if it's just for a few minutes.
It is. It's like a mini meditation in the middle of your day.
Exactly. And it all ties into another key principle in the book, simplifying our lives.
Simplify.
Simplifying sounds amazing in theory, but how do we actually do that in a world that's constantly telling us we need more, more, more?
Well, it starts with a mindset shift. It's about questioning our assumptions about what truly matters.
No.
You know, do we really need all that stuff? All those commitments, do we need to be constantly plugged in and available?
So it's about decluttering our lives, both physically and mentally,
Yes.
to make room for what truly matters.
Exactly. And that might mean letting go of things that no longer serve us, you know, clutter commitments, even negative thoughts and beliefs that are holding us back.
I love that idea, letting go of negative thoughts
Yeah.
to create space in our minds. It's like mental decluttering. So as we create more physical and mental space, what do we fill it with?
We make space for the things that bring us joy and fulfillment, spending quality time with loved ones, pursuing creative passions, connecting with nature.
So it's not just about subtracting things from our lives, it's about adding in the good stuff,
Yes.
the things that make us feel alive. And I bet that's where our breath comes in, right?
Absolutely. When we create space in our lives, we create space for our breath to flow more freely, more naturally. It becomes a source of energy and vitality, fueling those activities that bring us joy and purpose.
Wow. It's like everything comes full circle. Breathing space, mindfulness, they're
Yeah.
all interconnected.
They are, and that interconnectedness leads to some incredible benefits. Johnson talks about how creating space can lead to increased self-awareness, enhanced creativity, and a deeper sense of gratitude for the simple things in life.
It's like creating space is the ultimate act of self-care, giving ourselves permission to slow down, breathe, and simply be. And that, in turn, allows us to show up more fully in the world, right, with more energy and compassion to give to others.
Absolutely. It's not selfish to prioritize our own well-being. In fact, when we take care of ourselves, we're better equipped to take care of the people and things that matter most to us.
This deep dive has been a truly transformative experience. I mean, we've explored the science of breathing, we've learned practical techniques we can use right away, and we've uncovered the power of creating space in our lives. But as we wrap up, what's like the one key takeaway, the one message you hope our listeners will carry with them?
I think this breathing is a gift. It's a constant reminder that we're connected to something greater than ourselves, a source of life and energy that's always available to us.
It's so simple, yet so profound. And it reminds me of this quote from the book that really made me laugh, but also really stuck with me. Johnson says, "Orgasms are great, but fleeting the space in between, that's where true lasting peace lives. So just breathe."
He's so right. That space in between, whether it's the pause between breaths, the space between thoughts, or the space we create in our lives, that's where the magic happens.
That's where we find our center, our strength, our connection to the present moment. Well, thank you so much for guiding us through this incredible deep dive.
It's been my pleasure.
It's been truly enlightening, and to all our listeners out there, we encourage you to keep exploring the power of your breath, to take space in your lives, and to discover the peace and joy that awaits in the space in between. Until next time, keep breathing.